Hey Mama, I'm so glad you're here. I am talking today about the Santa dilemma and how this can be a really difficult thing to navigate. The commercialized parts of Christmas can pull away from the true meaning. And so it can be hard to know how to navigate this and what you're going to allow into your home, what you're going to explain to your children and let your children do and believe and how they're going to behave. But you still want to also enjoy the season. You want to enjoy the joy and all of the fun activities that go on. And so it can be hard to know what to do. And so I'm going to explain what I do in my own home and how we have been approaching this as a family. And there's no right or wrong answer to this. It's whatever suits you and your family best. It's probably best to choose one avenue and stick to it, though. Don't flip-flop back and forth between believing in Santa or not believing in Santa, or just pick one way and just go with it. Because you don't want to confuse your children either. And always, always, always bring it back to the true meaning of Jesus' birth. His being his birthday that's why we're celebrating it. It's not because of Santa and presents. But I am going to go into what it is that we do, how we explain it to my boys, and it's, we're enjoying it so far. So if you're on the go today, Mama, then turn the volume up. If you've got that cup of tea and you're sitting down, then let's get into this. Hey Mama, I know you're busy. You're living in piles of laundry, you don't know what you're making for your next meal, and there's a really annoying kid song stuck in your head. And through all of this, you're wondering how you're going to build a joyful Christian home. How do I know all of this? Because that was me. Hi, I'm Alyssa, teacher turned stay-at-home boy mom, blogger, podcaster, and Jesus lover. And I know that while this motherhood journey is beautiful, it's also messy. And the best way to enjoy it is to invite God into our chaos and let him be the rest that we so desperately need. So together, let's strengthen your relationship with God. Let's build a Christian home that is built on biblical truths and enjoy this motherhood journey. You got this, Mama. When I was growing up, my parents didn't talk about Santa. It's not that they necessarily blatantly said that he wasn't real. It never came up in conversation. It wasn't something that my parents didn't promote it. It just wasn't really part of our festivities. And after talking to my mom, she said she didn't want us believing in Santa, that it felt a little bit like you were lying to your kids, and I totally get it. Now, as a parent, I totally understand. The only downside was that I was the little 6-year-old, 7-year-old telling my friends that Santa wasn't real, because I knew he wasn't. Obviously it couldn't be real. And I had a hard time believing in Santa as a child anyways. When I did hear about him and you started to see the films and the movies, it didn't make sense to me that Santa would fly around the world and be able to deliver presents to everybody. And I didn't understand how some kids could have such extravagant gifts and other kids didn't get such nice gifts, and that you could be good or bad and that would dictate what it was that you were going to get from Santa. So there was a lot of parts of it that even as a young child, it didn't appeal to me. So of course I was the one that was going and telling my friends that Santa wasn't real, and not doing it in a mean way. I was just being very matter of fact of, well, he's not real. Like, this isn't a legit thing. So I decided to do things a little bit different as a parent. I wanted to make sure that my children were not the ones that were going to school saying that Santa wasn't real and crushing their friends. And I did want to enjoy that aspect of Christmas. And so I had to do things a little bit different with my kids. And my boys both love Santa. They were both just so in awe when the Santa decorations came out in the movies, and when we would go to the store and there'd be Santa stuff. And you know what? It's honestly, when they're little like that, it's pretty harmless, because it's only happening at one time of the year, and we are doing a lot of other talk about what Christmas is really about. So in my mind, letting them enjoy a little bit of Santa wasn't going to hurt them. And honestly, they're not going to be able to believe in it forever. It's just not something that you can believe in once you get past a certain age, once you understand logistics of things. And so it's okay to maybe let our kids enjoy a fairy tale every once in a while. That being said, there are aspects of it, like I said, that don't always make sense. And to me as a child, they didn't make sense. And I didn't want them to, for my children to feel that way. And so the idea that Santa gives beautiful, extravagant, expensive gifts to some children and not to other children, I didn't want my kids to feel that way. I didn't want them to feel like gifts were based on your behavior. They weren't based on like the value of how much you're loved, or anything like that. I didn't want to be tying the gifts to that, were you good this year? Or, that Santa gives nice gifts to some people and not to others. I really didn't want that, because we know that the meaning of Christmas and the reason why we give gifts is because Jesus was the ultimate gift, and that his gift was done out of love, that there were gifts given out of love, and we give gifts because we love people and we want to share that joy with other people, and that's one way of doing it. It's got nothing to do with that person and who they are, because Jesus didn't come and say, I'm only going to save a certain amount of people. He came to save everyone who would accept him. Anyone who will accept the gift can enter into his kingdom. And so I didn't want to tie gifts into a value. And so I wanted my children to know that they were going to get gifts regardless, that was not something that was going to be impacted necessarily by their behavior. Of course, I want them to behave and I want them to be good, but there have to be other consequences for it. So I wanted to make that really, really clear. And then the second thing I did is that I explained to my children who Santa was, because Saint Nicholas was actually a person. There's stories about him. And what he did was he went and he filled people's stockings with money and things like that to help them, as a way to help them. So poor people who maybe were in need, and he went and filled their stockings to help them. And so I always phrased it as Santa is someone who helps. He helps God. He's one of the ways that we use for spreading joy. And he fills our stockings. He does not give us gifts. He fills the stockings. And so that is how I approached it with my own children. It was to say that Santa came and he filled our stockings. And I tried to keep it simple. I didn't go into elaborate detail. I mean, the reindeer coming down the chimney, we kind of talked about it, not really. I just sort of glazed over that part with my kids. But that's how we phrased it. So my 4-year-old, still, that's what he understands. And I say that our gifts, our presents, come from mommy and daddy and grandma and grandpa and nana and papa and some of the aunties or other people who are giving gifts. Those are where the big gifts are coming from the people who love you, because that's what we do at Christmas, is we share our love, and that's one of the ways we share it. But Santa didn't give the gifts. He brought the stockings. So like all the stocking stuffers come from Santa. So it does mean I have to be really careful when I'm buying stocking stuffers, because I have to make sure that I say, oh, like that came from Santa, because my boys ultimately believe that. But that's how I'm phrasing things, because there is a joy and a magic in it. And it's just one small part of the story. And then we do so many other things to talk about the true meaning of Christmas. We do our nativity trail mix. We read the Bible stories. We put out the nativity scene and we go through the story. We look for ways that we can help people around Christmas time, how we can give gifts to other people, and make things joyful for others as well, not just for ourselves. And so that is how I am approaching this, and this is how we've done it, and it's worked fairly well with my own family, to help continue with that joy, because I want my children to feel that joy. I want them to remember Christmas as being a time of lots of lights and decorations and the comfort and the warmth of the home, and but I also want them to understand the true meaning, that comfort and that warmth comes from the nativity scene. It's from Jesus' birth. It's not from Santa and his reindeer and all of the commercialized things that the world has set on the stage for Christmas. Those are a distraction, and they're beautiful things to look at, and we can still enjoy them so long as that we keep our focus on Jesus. So that's how I'm doing it. This dilemma, I know, is a struggle in a lot of places, in a lot of homes. It can be hard. But I really believe that if we are teaching our children the true meaning of Christmas, and we're teaching them that Santa is not giving extravagant gifts, because not every child is going to get big gifts every year. Times are tough, things happen, and so we don't want our children to grow up thinking that they are unloved or that Santa likes other people better than them, because that creates whole other issues that we just don't need to get into. And so that's kind of where I'm at. If you're wanting more resources on this, I have a YouTube video that you can watch on this blog post, which is linked down in the show notes. And you can show that YouTube video to your kids about who Santa is. And it's just kind of a little cartoon video, but it kind of helps put things in a perspective about how Santa helps. And just another way to explain it. Or you can just read the blog post for more about what I've said here. And don't forget, I've got a lot of different resources on my website for Christmas scripture verses that you can use to help create a cozy Christmas atmosphere in your home, and different ideas and ways that you can help to foster some traditions in your home that are going to point to Jesus and create those lasting memories that your children are going to love, and also helps to reinforce the nativity story and the true meaning of Christmas. So wherever you're at today, if you're starting to get ready for Christmas, I pray that you are able to focus on the true meaning, and that you can find peace and that you can find comfort in this season, and all that it has to offer for you and your family. Thanks for joining me today. Did you know that Busy Moms Christian Homes and Little Bit of Lavender is more than just a podcast and a blog? I have resources available on Etsy and Amazon to help you with your walk every single day. If you need some scripture cards, if you need devotionals, if you need planners, I've got them all. The links for all of that is going to be in the show notes, or you can head over to littlebitoflavender.ca for more information. I pray your coffee stays hot, your children stay calm, and keep Jesus in your heart. Until next time, Mama. God bless.